Hey, do you actually want to know why you don't have money? And no, it's not because you don't work hard enough, and it's not because the system is rigged. There are some actual extremely common habits and reasons why you don't have as much money as you could. All right, first let me ask you, have you ever thought or said any of these things? Rich people are evil, money is bad, you can't get rich without taking advantage of other people, money destroys relationships, there's virtue in having less money, rich people are all greedy, if I do make too much money, my friends and family might look down on me, I might not fit in. If you have any of those beliefs, you are not going to have money. If you believe that all rich people are evil and they're the bad guy and they're taking advantage of everybody and the only way they got to the top is stepping on the backs of other people, you're just never gonna have money because you're in this mindset that frames being successful, what most people strive for in their life, as a bad thing, and therefore you will keep yourself from doing that. Sure, there are bad people who have money and do nothing with it or hoard it or are greedy, and you might see them more because they're more in the spotlight because they have money. There are poor people and middle class people who are also greedy, who are also selfish, who also take advantage of people. Money can unlock amazing things. It can make your life and everybody you know's life easier. You can help people, you can build things, or you can be a bad person. It just amplifies who you are. It doesn't make you that. Stuff. People have this idea, which again, I used to have as well, that buying more stuff will make you happy. If you're not making enough money and you're stressed about your finances and you just, you've worked hard this week, it's okay to go out and treat yourself a little bit and spend some money because that'll make you feel better, right? In fact, my whole goal of earning more money and making more money and saving money was all just so I could spend it on more stuff. I could buy, a new car. I could go on bigger trips. I could wear flashier clothes. But now, over the past 5 years or so, I've been getting into minimalism. I have realized that stuff doesn't make you happy. In fact, generally the most excited I am about buying something is right before I buy it. You get kind of like this dopamine high. It's scientific stuff, I don't know how it works, but you have this little shot of feeling good right before you buy something, and after you buy it you kind of feel worse. And something I've come to realize through minimalism is that once you have this baseline level of stuff, so I have clothes that fit and I like, and I haven't really gotten any new clothes once I found stuff that actually worked. And it doesn't mean you can never enjoy some stuff. Yes, I do have a couple rings because they're fun and I wear them every day, but I don't have 17 other ones sitting on a shelf somewhere that I never wear. I have shoes, but I wear them every single day, or I just have ones that I need. I don't have extra stuff. And I feel once you start getting everything you've ever wanted, you realize that it's just a trap. It's an emptiness thing that drains money from you, and you're trading your life for money. So you're essentially just dying for stuff. I think it's the biggest scam that most of us are constantly sold, is that buying stuff will make you happy, will make you a better person, will make you more likable, your friends will like you more. That's the whole reason to progress in your job and to work more, is just to buy more stuff. And once you can escape that upgrade, new shiny object syndrome mindset, that's when you can move on to the next level of buying your freedom with that money, where instead I was able to build up enough investments and then have an emergency fund big enough that I could leave my day job and take a huge step back in pay in order to do something that I like every single day that had a lot more upside. Even if I earned, at the time it was 10 times less than what I was earning before, I enjoyed it a lot more, and I was able to do that because instead of buying stuff, I bought freedom through investing and saving the money and having not really a lot of things. A lack of personal accountability. Instead of blaming the system and the government, your upbringing and everything else, blame yourself for staying in the job that's not paying you well and the boss is taking advantage of you and the company's corrupt and all that. You chose to work there. I started cleaning office buildings at night, making $10 an hour from the age of 11. And that was something that I kind of fell into because my family started doing that because we didn't have money, and that's what we had to do as an entire family to kind of whatever. And I stayed cleaning office buildings for 13 years. I could have stayed in that for my entire life. I know people who've been cleaning office buildings for 40 years. But instead of just giving what life gave to me, which was this $10 an hour job with very little upside, after reading that book, I started taking a lot more ownership and trying a bunch of new things, because I realized if I didn't have money, which I was almost guaranteed to never have money if I stayed there, that would have been my own fault. If I'm out of shape, if I'm a lot of times even unhappy, if I'm struggling with my money, all of those things I personally choose to look at as my fault. If I'm unhappy, a lot of times I allowed myself to get in that mindset by being around people who upset me or allowing them to upset me. I'm in charge of my own brain, not somebody else. Obviously, there are like extreme cases where there are maybe chemically things wrong or you get hit by a bus or something, but that's not common for most of us. And yet we like to take that shift of blame towards somebody else or towards something else instead of taking as much accountability as possible, because when you do take that accountability, it makes it so that, hey, if I do something, I can change my circumstances. If you give all that power to somebody else, you blame your company, your boss, the government, the job, the upbringing, the whatever, then like, okay, your life's just gonna suck forever. You can just like admit to that and like agree to it and whatever. Or you can say, no, I can change this. I've seen people without arms or legs who give talks. I've seen people who have crippling things wrong with them who have succeeded more than I could ever dream. You can look at that as the negative side, or you can just admit that maybe it's harder for you than some other people. Maybe it's easier for you than other people. There are people who are like billionaires' kids who OD on drugs because they've always had it easy. Like, you always think, well, that would be great. Well, I'd rather have that problem of having money and whatever. But it's like, okay, well, maybe you would have died. Who knows? So I just think it's really important to have this idea of not villainizing money, not blaming other people for your problems.
You complain about the life that you chose,
but taking that accountability to take the first step. It's your job to stop spending money. It's your job to get off social media if that's encouraging you to spend money. It's your job to educate yourself on finances, because if you don't have that, maybe you don't know what to do with that money afterwards. No one's gonna do that for you. That's completely your job. And for the most part, if you don't have money, it's because you weren't doing something. You chose the easiest thing with maybe the lowest risk of complete failure, but also the lowest ceiling of potential. So if you do have a lot of those beliefs, what can you do to actually change and start progressing in your finances? Credit cards. If you have credit card debt and you're not paying it off at the end of every single month, cut up your credit cards. Take them out of your wallet. Freeze them, call the company, cancel them, even if it takes 6 hours. Honestly, I just had to do that recently. It's incredibly annoying. But remove them from your Amazon cart so you can't buy stuff. Put them inside your safe, or put it underneath a note that says, is what you're about to buy worth giving up your dreams for? If you're in this constant cycle of just buying out of habit and out of convenience, and you don't have enough money, you need to actually actively make it hard for yourself to stay doing what you're doing, because the easiest thing to do is just to keep going. Maybe make a few small changes, but nothing big. But if you want to make drastic changes, you have to make it like really uncomfortable for yourself. Like, for example, when I give up video games, I unplug the Xbox and I bring it upstairs. And that way, when I want to play video games, I can't just go sit down, click on the remote and turn it on. I actually have to go upstairs, get the Xbox, bring it downstairs, plug it all in, make sure I get the cables in the right thing. It's kind of annoying. And just by doing that, like, it's so much easier to not play Xbox. If you make it the same thing with your money where you can get access to it, it's just incredibly annoying to do so. It's much easier for you to stay on track to saving money, to paying off debt, to doing whatever it is you're trying to do to better your financial future forever. Investing the wrong way. When I started investing, I remember putting in like $25 and then $100 into different investment accounts. And while that is good, it's a good habit to get into early. Compound interest is amazing. I've had $800 that turned into a bunch more money because I invested a long time ago and I just didn't touch it. Great, it's amazing. It's not life-changing. What was life-changing is reading dozens of books. I've got a bookshelf downstairs that literally changed my life. The other book that I talked about, I've read that like 4 times, and I've taken a bunch of courses. I've done like coaching programs. I've done a bunch of different things which are investing into my mind. Gone to seminars. I've spent thousands going to seminars and meeting people and networking. And a lot of people, when they're starting investing, they go with the easiest route again, which is to throw a couple $100 into the stock market, or even worse, into some random crypto, and they think that that is going to make all the difference in their finances. And while it's better than doing nothing, in my opinion, it's way worse than taking a couple $100 and trying to earn 3% more at your job by taking extra classes or learning more skills that could get you a different job that pays 30% more. Like, that's going to be such a higher return, even if it's just a couple percent more that you make per year. That's such a better return than just earning, a couple percent on $100, like, or even $1,000. If that earns 10% in a year, like, you made $100. It's not going to change your life. But if you take $1,000 and you can go from making $51,000 a year to $55,000 a year, that's $4,000 that you made with $1,000. Like, it's a no-brainer to invest in yourself as early and often as possible. Only making money while you're awake. If your only source of income comes from you going somewhere or doing some activity that gives you money in return, it's going to be very hard for you to reach wealth quickly at all. That means your day job, it means door dashing, it means whatever it is where he's like, I work for 3 hours and I get 3 hours worth of pay. If that is your current strategy and you have no other strategies in play, it's crazy hard. But if you can learn to make money while you're asleep, that's where you start to make real progress. And the first time you do it, it's like absolutely life-changing, amazing. And that's why I love, having my own businesses. YouTube as a business, this could be the stock market, this could be real estate. I have rentals that pay me pretty much no matter what. Yes, things go wrong, but that's why I have emergency funds for those. My YouTube channel, whether I post next week or not, I'm gonna earn roughly the same amount of money because of all the digital assets that I've been building that continue to pay at least a little bit of something for, it's been 5 or 6 years now, but for the next 10 years, they're still gonna earn me a little bit of money every single day, no matter what I do. And so building things like that continue to pay you after you put in a lot of upfront effort, but then they pay you indefinitely, that's where wealth starts to be created. That's where things start to get exciting. And then when you shift over to like, okay, well, I wanna start trading my time for money less because I know that's a trap I can never get out of. And you even just find a way to earn $1 passively. There's nothing really passive, but you know what I mean, passively. Then you just need to figure out how to do more of that and more of that. And maybe it takes 5 years. But when you can start to build something that isn't attached to your time, it's been life-changing for me. It's so liberating. Thinking that it's just a couple $100. When you are grinding 9 to 5, which again, I have done while working 3 other jobs, and then the weekend comes, I don't know why I'm still holding this, and the weekend comes, and you're like, oh, I'm just so tired, I just wanna go, like, I need a stress relief here. So I'm gonna go get some drinks with some friends, have some dinner. It was, I blew a couple $100 last weekend, wasn't a big deal. Maybe it'll happen next weekend. Maybe it'll happen every weekend forever. Nights, too tired to cook. I'm just gonna DoorDash it tonight. It's just, I'm tired, okay? You got that thing going on. You get caught in that loop. For me and almost every person who I've talked to who've reached freedom, and including myself, it was the people who are willing to sacrifice that comfort now, the people who are willing to practice delayed gratification of not going out to dinner. Most of them don't drink, they don't have expensive hobbies, they don't have the nicest car, they don't really fit in with their friend group that way. But in 5 to 10 years, most of them are at financial freedom. They're out of their 9 to 5, while everybody else is still living paycheck to paycheck and hating that, but enjoying the weekends a little bit more maybe, if you need to spend money to enjoy a weekend. Seems kind of crazy. It seems to be that the people who are unwilling to take a step back of maybe embarrassment to their friend group or step back in just quality of life for a couple years are the ones who will be guaranteed to work for the next 30 years. And I've seen this time and again where, even as an example, me and my wife were willing to take a rough step at the beginning of this really terrible, 1-bedroom apartment that we ended up renovating, just nicotine dripping down the walls, a complete disaster zone. Nobody else wanted to buy it because it was just disgusting. And we were willing to put in that work to fix that up. We were able to live in one unit, rent the other units in the apartment out, and live for free in this tiny little 1-bedroom. And it was fun. Cooked all of our food at home. We got all of our clothes at the thrift store, drove like a 10-year-old car, worked multiple jobs, never spent money on the nights and weekends. And because of that, within 3 years, both me and my wife were able to leave our job. Yes, I had a worse car than most people that I knew. Yes, my clothes were more thrifted than anybody that I knew. Yes, we never went out to dinner for like a couple years, but now we have almost unlimited freedom where we travel sometimes a week, a month, and then always like one long month per year. And I get to be home every day and I get to do what I love and I don't have to check in and I have no boss. And all of that came from extreme sacrifice for a couple years of working way more than I needed to survive and spending just the bare minimum I could to survive. Because of those two things, everything's changed pretty much forever. And almost everybody that I know is unwilling to make the same sacrifices just for a couple of years in order to have freedom, which is one of the reasons why I make these videos, so I can share it with more people, because I think there is a little bit of a, cheat code to life. And it's just being willing to do what most other people are unwilling to do. I don't know, I'm passionate about this stuff. Also, I want to shout out Start Thinking Rich, great book. I took inspiration for this video after reading a chapter of this book. Kind of reminded me of a lot of stuff that I had done personally, which is what I just shared with you. So check that out if you're looking to start thinking rich. And thanks for clicking on this video right here, because it's very, very good. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy it.